Tata Tigers, welcome back to Art with Miss Swift. What we're going to do today is we're going to explore how far you can stretch a single shape called a square. Now, if you all know, squares have 4 sides and all sides are the same length. We are going to read a book called The Perfect Square. And what is happening in the square is that the square is being ripped and punctured and cut in different ways to become something else. So we're really going to explore what a single square can be when it's kind of broken apart and manipulated and torn and crumpled. And as artists, we change things up and we explore how far they can go to become something different or new or creative or fun. And what we'll do is we'll do that today using only paper, your own hands, and if you'd like scissors, and definitely glue. And then we'll be able to share what we create if you can email it to me, and I'll make sure you get that by the end of the video. Okay, have a great time. Thank you. Perfect Square by Michael Hall. It was a perfect square. It had 4 matching corners and 4 equal sides. And it was perfectly happy. But on Monday, the square was cut into pieces and poked full of holes. It wasn't perfectly happy anymore. So it made itself into a fountain and babbled and giggled and clapped. On Tuesday, the square was torn into scraps. So it made itself into a garden. On Wednesday, the square was shredded into strips. So it made itself into a park. On Thursday, the square was shattered. So it made itself into a bridge. On Friday, the square was snipped into ribbons. So it made itself into a river. On Saturday, the square was crumpled and ripped and wrinkled. So it made itself into a mountain. On Sunday, the square waited to see what was next. It waited and waited, and nothing happened. Its 4 equal sides were confining. Its 4 matching corners were rigid and cramped. So it made itself into a window. That looked out on a mountain, that gave birth to a river, that was crossed by a bridge, that led to a park, that was home to a garden and had at its center a fountain, that babbled and giggled and clapped. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that book. One thing that I particularly like about it is that the square starts off happy as a square. And what happens is things start to happen to it that it doesn't like, and it becomes unhappy. But instead of staying unhappy, it decides it's going to make the best of it and turn itself into something it likes, something it's comfortable with, something that makes it happy. And to the point where it became a square again, and it wanted to look at all those things that it had become, and those things that it had become made it happy, even though it wasn't a square anymore. Okay, let's get to this art project, shall we? You're going to need 2 pieces of paper, scissors, a pen, and a glue stick. What you're going to do is take one piece of paper and turn it into a perfect square. You can do this by folding the corners into the paper twice on each side, then folding the extra piece on the side like you see here. That extra piece there that's a rectangle, you want to snip off. And in the end, you'll have a perfect square. All four sides will be the same length. Then you can start ripping it, tearing it, cutting it, puncturing it, crumpling it, whatever you feel like you want to do to that perfect square. The main thing is to keep all of the pieces so that you can use all parts of the square to make your art. Then you're going to assemble it in different ways that you think will work onto that second piece of paper. You can play around with how you want it to look before you glue it and try to create something from it, something you recognize, something that you think would be a cool picture. And just decide how you want to place everything before you glue. The main thing is that you want all pieces of the perfect square to be in your picture. Once you've decided to glue it, you can start taking the bottom layers and gluing those on first if there's overlap, and slowly pasting them down. And try to make it the way you had it before, and then that way you can start adding details with the pen once everything is glued down. If you can tell, I have made mine into a ocean village. There's a cliff where there's houses on it, and then it goes down into the water, and there's some sea stacks, like big sort of rock outcrops from the ocean. There's a boat. Oh, actually that turned into an island with a tree on it. And then, see, things change. And then I also have this little airplane, old-fashioned airplane flying above, and I'm just adding details now with my pen and just making it more interesting and adding more character to the different objects so that maybe you can identify them a little easier. That's my little tree with fruit. Then I'm adding windows to the house and door. Well, there you have it, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and I hope that you would like to share it with me. I'm going to include my email address here, and that way you can send me a picture of what you came up with and what you had your perfect square evolve into. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, stay safe and healthy and artistic. Bye. Bye.